Hey folks, welcome to Gamer and Complainer. This is episode 1 of a podcast we just decided to shoot just now. So joining me is my wonderful fiance, Samantha.
Hey guys. I'm actually quite offended by the name that you came up with because I'd like to think of myself as not just a complainer.
Well, I think the audience could speak for me as well in saying that your voice sounds like you're a complainer. So just like that.
Okay, so yeah, it is New Year's Eve. We are bringing in the new year with our first podcast. Let's see how this goes.
It's going to be fun. So we're going to jump into some topics real quick. Sammy, what did you
Well, I think we should start with why are we starting this podcast?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't even think I know the answer to that.
Well, you bought yourself this microphone.
Yes, I did.
And I'm obsessed with listening to podcasts, and we're looking for something to do. So I thought this would be fun and try to stay awake till midnight, which I doubt I will.
It's to be seen. I think there's something to be said about trying to come up with an interesting concept as one person being an avid video gamer and another person having no clue what video games are about.
Okay, well, I play a little bit.
Okay, okay. You play Clubhouse games with me sometimes.
Yeah, and like Family Feud and Jeopardy.
Yeah,
board
games.
Minecraft Dungeons.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I'm pretty good at that too.
Yeah. I know a little bit about video games, but like I'm not like quite as, like, how do I say that without offending Alex? I always call him a nerd, which he gets so offended by.
No. I'm not. I'm a self-proclaimed nerd. Okay. First of all, it's the way in which you said it that one time that I was mad.
Okay. Well, I'm not a video game nerd like Alex is, and I don't enjoy playing it every day of my life, but certain games are fun once in a while to kill some time, and it gives us something to do and just bond, I guess you could say.
Well, I enjoy sharing my hobby with you, and even if you're not 100% invested in it, it's still fun to sort of do something I love with someone I love.
Aww, yeah. So then I guess that's why we are starting a podcast, and we'll be talking exactly about video games, more from Alex's side, and then from my side, I'll just be bringing in topics that I enjoy to talk about.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a topic for you, actually.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you're going to understand it.
Okay. It's one of those nerdy concepts?
Yeah, very much so. Are you familiar with ray tracing?
Not at all.
You don't know what ray tracing is?
No.
Really?
Really.
How have you gone this far in life without knowing what ray tracing is?
I don't know what ray tracing is.
Okay, so it is a very complicated concept. So essentially, in 3D video game modeling. I'm just gonna
sip on my wine while you.
Well, you're supposed to be listening to me as well, so that you understand. I can impart some knowledge onto you. So basically, in 3D modeling, there is a rendering technique that's called ray tracing, and what it does is it traces basically the movement of a light source throughout the video game. So, okay, are you familiar with like real world physics, how light works?
Ooh, that's been years. I don't remember anything from physics.
Okay, so essentially there's a light source. In our case, it's the sun.
Okay.
And the way we see the world is those rays of light reflecting
Yes.
off objects and being put into our eyes.
Yes.
which
Learned
is
that
then
from the Magic School
processed.
Bus.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Or the colors, at least, in the little pinball machine. You remember that?
No, I don't. But I haven't watched it recently. I should get back to it, you know?
I haven't watched it recently either. I just remember it from
How
my
do you
child.
remember that?
Actually, that's a lie. I binge watched the Magic School Bus when I was studying dental hygiene. I think Lindsay could attest to that. Who was my roommate? I definitely watched the Magic School Bus when I was 24 years old.
Did you have like a bowl of Cheerios and it was
No,
like
probably
Saturday
a bowl
morning?
of popcorn. No, it was at nighttime.
Okay,
Or
it
in
was
the
while you were
afternoon.
studying, so you had it on in the background, or?
No, I would just take my breaks and I'd binge watch the Magic School Bus.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, I freaking know how we see
How
color
light
because of the Magic School Bus. Or light. I forget now.
Oh, it could have been
Whatever.
color too, yeah.
Well, I remember they had little color things like grapes. They bounce the light off the grapes. So
okay.
And then
It's whatever
You
it's
saw
whatever the object
purple after.
It's whatever the object doesn't absorb, it's what it reflects is what. Okay.
Yeah, anyways,
Anyway,
we're getting
that's-
off track.
Yeah, that's a little bit too physicsy for two people that don't know much about physics. So ray tracing basically works in a similar way to the real world physics, how real world physics works.
Okay.
So it traces the movement of light, in quotations, and how it reflects off objects in the environment. So in doing so, they can recreate more photorealistic worlds. Like you'll see more accurate shadows, and you will see reflections that are an actual accurate reflection to what we would see in the real world.
Okay. That went over my head.
Okay, well that's fine. That's why we're doing this podcast, so that you can
I'm
maybe
gonna
learn
learn.
a few
I'm
things.
gonna learn.
Yeah. So essentially, I'll read the article, and if this
You're gonna read the whole article.
not the whole article, but I'll read excerpts from it, and basically, if this ever manages to go live, which
Yeah.
I hope it does. I'll try to link the article in whatever comments section or info section that we have.
We
I don't
end
know
up having.
I don't know what source of media we're going to use for this yet.
Yeah, we're still like, this is for fun tonight, but who knows? Maybe we might decide to air it because it's fun, and why not?
Yeah. So ray tracing was just developed for the Super Nintendo. Do you know what the Super Nintendo is?
It's not the Nintendo Switch.
No, it's not the Nintendo
Okay, then
Switch.
no, I have no idea.
So basically, in the 90s, there was a gaming console that was 16-bit, which I don't know why I'm explaining this to you, because I know you're not going to understand.
Bit?
But it was a 16-bit gaming console. So basically, it would create an image on a 2D plane. So that's the conception of, well, the NES is where Mario was conceived, but the Super Nintendo, instead of being 8-bit like the NES, was 16-bit. So the graphics were better, but it's nowhere near what we see nowadays with games. Like, not even close, okay? So the fact that Mr. Ben Carter was able to basically develop ray tracing for the Super Nintendo, that is insane. That's insane. Do you hear?
So like the Switch has ray tracing?
There's only select few games that have ray tracing at the moment, I believe, because it is such an expensive.
Okay.
It's an expensive way of rendering objects. It takes a lot of money and it takes a lot of time. So not every game does it, but the newer generations, like what you'll see on the Series X and the PlayStation 5, we're gonna see a lot more ray tracing. So the Super Nintendo, Ben Carter released a Super RT chip. for the Super Nintendo, which allowed the console to render with ray tracing.
Okay. For those of you who didn't know what ray tracing was before this and still don't know what it is after that explanation, don't worry, you're not alone. Because I'm still lost.
I'm not a very good person at explaining things.
Did you want to read those excerpts?
Yes,
that
I'm going to read a bit of the article out here now. Just need to pull it up.
I'll take a sip of my sparkling wine since it is New Year's Eve.
So the article is from IGN, and it's called Someone Added Real-Time Ray Tracing to SNES Games. So maybe they'll explain what ray tracing is better than I can. So ray tracing is a rendering technique that simulates the way light bounces off objects, which can create much more realistic shadows, reflections, and lighting effects. And game developer and software engineer Ben Carter of Shironiko Labs took on the challenge on making it work on the SNES with his Super RT chip. And then it goes on to provide a video. So hopefully that explains it a bit better than what I could articulate myself. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's basically the excerpt I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
So the Super RT chip can produce single bounce reflections and direction light shadows. So it's a very basic type of ray tracing, but it's what the console can basically reproduce. Of course, he also like modified the console heavily to be able to pull this off. So if you think I'm a nerd, I'm just saying there are nerdier people out there.
Yeah. All right.
Except the other nerds are actually doing something with their lives. So.
Mm-hmm. Was that all for ray tracing?
Yeah, that was my topic. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, I guess we could talk about because I do play video games once in a while. They're not like the shooting video games. Those I don't enjoy. Mm-hmm. But we can talk a bit about the games that we do enjoy together.
Yeah, okay.
Alex recently bought this game that has 50 different board games.
Yeah, so it's 51 games in one game. So 51 board games in one game. It's called Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. Mm-hmm. It's a first-party Nintendo-published game for the Switch.
Yeah, and I really enjoy it because the games are all old-school games and strategy games, and that's what I'm good at. Like, Alex can beat me at any shooting game or fighting game, or Mario, anything. He can beat me at those kind of games. But when it comes to strategic games and using my brain, I beat him a lot more.
Oh, okay. I think we've gotten a little off topic here. No.
But it's actually something I can win at, which is fun because when you're constantly beating me, it's oh, that sounds bad. But beating me at games.
No, I'm not physically abusing you if that's what you're. Yeah. The thing is, I agree with your statement that in strategy games you do have a chance at beating me more so than in first person shooter reactive based games. But I don't agree with you if you're putting a jab at me saying I'm stupid.
Putting a jab. No, you're very intelligent. But it's just I'm saying I have a chance because I'm really good at the strategy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Or concentration, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I'm good at.
Yeah. So actually, you were playing Mahjong.
Yeah.
Last night, and I had no clue what was going on. the whole time. I heard of the game when I was a kid. There was mahjong on like they had old PCs that would play like certain games like Minesweeper, mahjong, solitaire. So I was exposed to that through that, but I never knew.
That's where I played it first. I think was on a PC. Yeah.
Okay. I never knew actually how to play the game though. I was much better at Minesweeper.
Well, that's like Minesweeper. I don't know how many people like used to play Minesweeper on the computer and just randomly hit little squares and like die and like didn't know why.
Yeah.
But like once you catch on to like how you actually play, you like it's you know.
Yeah, well it gets more fun.
And it gets more fun. Yeah.
It's more fun.
But like I remember when I was young, I just hit squares and then a bomb and then I didn't know really how to
I had similar experiences, but it was later in my college years that I actually sat down and took the time to understand the game, and I don't know, I became pretty good at it. I used to be able to beat the hardest difficulty. So
and actually this game that he bought, the 51 game, we both learned how to play backgammon.
Yes.
Like we never knew how to play backgammon until this video game on the Switch. Now we know how to play.
Yes.
Sort of, kind of. I think we get it.
Yeah. A little backstory is when I was a kid, we used to have this backgammon board. It had all the pieces. It was like a briefcase.
Yeah.
And you know what we used to do with it? We didn't play backgammon.
Hockey?
We would no. We would leave everything in the briefcase, and that's what we would pretend it was. Like we were going to work. We were a businessman, and we were using we were using the backgammon board as a briefcase.
Huh.
I wonder if I'm the only one that's ever experienced that.
Let us know if you've used the backgammon board as a briefcase in your childhood years.
Yeah.
Another game you bought recently was Family Feud, which you bought it for me, I guess, so that we could play together.
I'm not as big a fan of Family Feud as you are.
Yeah, but that's fun. It's fun because it's set up like the game is set up. Like if you wanted to play 10 people, like 5 people on each team, each person would have.
Unfortunately, we can't really do that.
Right now, we can't have big gatherings of 10 people. But it is fun when the time comes to, like, if we have, like, a party and there's 10 people, each person can be, like, a player on the family and actually go in and buzz in like the real Family Feud game. So I think that's really fun. And then you also have, I think, Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, I bought those, like right at the beginning.
Yeah,
when
which
I
are
first got my
games
Switch.
more for me because I like that. I grew up watching Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune with my grandparents every night. So, that's fun to be able to do.
I think, isn't there a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire game on Switch?
Probably, but I'm not
I was
never a big fan. No, it's hard. Like,
what do you mean? It's trivia.
Yeah, but I would get like the first 3 questions right,
but
then
it's multiple choice.
I would
so
lose.
Even if you don't know,
I would need my lifelines right away.
It's multiple choice, so even if you don't know the answer to the question,
but if you don't know the answer and you get it wrong,
but you still have like a 25% chance of getting it right, which is a good chance if you don't know the answer. But also, I'm sure it's not. I'm not even sure if there is a game like that on the Switch, but I think there is. I think I saw it.
I think so.
Yeah.
Or was it the Xbox?
Could be one or the other.
I think I saw it on the Xbox. I don't know. Last game I wanted to talk about. I don't play it anymore, but I will say that this game got me through 10 weeks of quarantine, which... Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I'm very aware of what you're talking about. It's one of my favorite games.
Yeah. It made his top 1 list on
top
his...
One.
My
top 5,
top 5
but it was
list.
number 1.
It was number 1 on his XGR page, which you guys can go check out.
Shameless plug.
But yeah, Animal Crossing. I was off of work, like a lot of people, for 10 weeks, and so it really killed it. It was part of my daily routine. I'd wake up and I would go and grab all the, what is it, that bottle where you have
the SOS bottle.
So like I would wake up and like shake down the trees and get the fruit and like dig up the
fossils,
and then also dig up the money trees and stuff. And I always got up first before Alex, so I would go and do all these things.
She would get all the resources,
and then he would wake up and go on, and all these things would be gone already. But we took our turns with the fossil.
Yeah, after a while, after like a week of doing that, we were like, okay, we got to alternate.
Yeah, we alternated. It would be, I'd dig up the fossils, the next day he would, and then we just alternate like that to make it the most fair.
Yeah. What's great about Animal Crossing is it literally came out, and it sucks to say this because it wasn't a perfect time for, I'm sure, the vast majority of people. But it was the perfect time for that game to launch because it was right around the time everyone started to go into lockdown.
Yep.
And it was an escape from what we were dealing with on the daily, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it was good for you too. It was almost therapeutic.
Yeah, it's like a little escape. It would kill some time.
It gives you something to look forward to the next day and stuff. Like, oh, the fruits are going to grow back tomorrow. Yeah. Like, you had something to look forward to. Or like,
what's that camel's name? Like, oh,
Sahara.
Sahara's going to be there with Max tomorrow. Or
even though her rugs
oh my God, the rugs are so ugly.
They're so bad.
Yeah, I never got a good one.
I was about to say a bad word. That's how. That's how.
We're gonna try not to go explicit. We're gonna try not to swear.
Yeah,
on this podcast, we're gonna try, but I sometimes have a potty mouth, so
it's especially difficult.
It might happen.
Yeah. It's bound to happen.
It might happen.
And it'll just slip out, and we won't even know it.
Yeah. So, how was your time when I was out? I mean, now you're home again. Your transition between finishing stage in mid-November and now only going back to school mid-January or end of January.
Yeah.
So you have all this time off. I've been off for 2 weeks. Almost 2 weeks. I'm going back to work soon, which I don't want to. But when we were both off for 10 weeks, stuck in a little tiny 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
How were you with that?
I was okay. Like there's the obvious times where you've just had too much of someone. There is such thing as too much of a good thing, and there are times where that happens. But for the most part, I think we handled it really well. And if we ever did need our space from each other, we'd have it. Like, I'd go in one room, you'd go in the other.
Yeah, you really, you went mostly in the bedroom.
Yeah.
With your Switch, and I'd stay in the living room so I could have the TV and just watch TV or do my puzzles. We're not breathing down each other's necks all the time. So I think it went well.
I
honestly think we didn't have very many arguments in those 10 weeks. Like, it went really well.
Yeah. Yeah, because we knew when to take the time and when to have our time together. And we just managed our time well enough for us to still enjoy each other, even after being one on top of another, like every day, like 24/7. It was fun. I liked it.
Yeah. It was a good test because then you proposed to me, and now we're going to get married, and we know that we can stand each other for a whole 10 weeks straight without a freaking break.
Yeah. It's been proven. It's been tested. Proven.
So then after that, he's like, I know she's the one.
Yeah. Yeah, I did.
But anyways, wedding topics to come later on in future podcasts, because, I like to talk about that.
And more gaming-oriented topics are coming as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, that...
Yeah, so exactly. In the future, like I said before, Alex will be talking a lot about... His topics will be more about video games. Mine will be more a bit of everything. But I think it'll be a nice mix.
Yeah. I think so too.
So then,
I think we're gonna wrap things up now.
yeah, 25 minutes. That's a good start for our first podcast. With not much planning, we kind of just did this on a whim. So
yeah, it was
I just wanted to do it for fun.
Yeah, but I think it was. I like it. I think we should continue doing it. And so I'm gonna drop some of my socials right now as we exit the podcast. So you can catch me on Facebook at XGR Extensive Game Reviews. You can catch me on Twitter at XGR Extensive Gam1. That's GAM1. On YouTube at XGR Extensive Game Reviews. And my website is www.extensivegamereviews.com. So with that, I think we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, so Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, and girls.
Yes.
Yeah, so thanks for agreeing to do this with me. This is fun.
Yeah.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.